Shalom, beloved. It's been a while. I had a video for you guys. It was too big to load, so then I ended up sharing with you that video with the extra duck footage, but definitely still a beautiful message. I do believe that God uses animals to teach us huge lessons that we need. So it is important to love His creation. They're amazing. They're more amazing than us in many ways, right? They don't have the sin, and they're just beautiful. I'm very thankful that God designed all these unique different creatures, and I feel like we can find ourselves really, things about ourselves within the different creatures. So anyways, yes, so thank you for watching that, and what I want to share with you guys is from Mark. But first of all, tell me how you all are doing. Please leave a comment below. Anything you're interested in as well, music, art, signed CD. I have my P.O. box in the description box of my videos. And before I get into this, I just want to share something real quickly, as this has happened before and it happened again, where I have a subscriber that is not happy with me because I don't keep up a continued conversation, a continued dialogue. Not that we really started one in the first place, but even just a little bit of connecting with you, talking about whatever it is that was on your heart at that time. My hope and my prayer is to always be here for the people of God, and that's what I try to do. But I do know a lot of people. I also have to work very hard. I'm not sure if some people maybe don't know how hard a self-employed person has to work. You have to work extra hard, in my opinion. Just yesterday, I think I contacted over or close to 30 different congregations to see if they would have me come and do music. Everything changed, with the virus stuff. So I'm having to back up and just trusting Abba, but we trust him, but we also have to do our part. And so anyways, I'm a very busy person. It's not that I don't care, I do care, but I cannot have a continued conversation. And I know someone who's been a supporter, a subscriber, was very hurt by the fact that I haven't kept up. And I just want to reach out to you here in case others are feeling the same way. I'm sorry. I love you guys, but I cannot, I just can't continue all the time. I would love to be able to talk to everybody all the time, but that email as well is primarily for discussions from the videos, prayer requests, information about things I have for sale, like my book or music or whatever. And I know you'd mentioned about WhatsApp, but that's just it. I cannot keep up with everybody. So I'm not looking for other ways to communicate more with people. Again, not because I don't care, but because I already have people I talk to and closely, and I just can't talk to everybody. So please don't be hurt. Please don't be hurt at all. It's amazing because that is something that God can do. I can't take that place in your life, but God can do that. He can be there for you and everybody in this world somehow, amazingly, all the time. And He has that gift to be with you all the time. So look to Him. When I can't be there for you, please indeed look to Him for that comfort. And I will also try to give whatever information, advice I can, help I can, when I can, to the best of my ability. Okay, so hope you hear this message. You know who you are, and yeah. Speaking of the contacts, reminds me of something. If I'm curious to know actually how many of you would be interested in coming to Oklahoma for an Yiskah concert. Really, I do want to know this. This has been something on my heart. Since I wasn't able to go on the small music tour that I had planned, I released the new album, and then the virus stuff came up, riots came up. So all those things changed, which is okay. I mean, it's all in God's hands. But now that things are a little different, and I still want to reach out to people with the music, I thought, well, I wonder how many people would actually come to Oklahoma for a concert if I work that out. So I'm interested to see how many people. I know people that I know closely. I've talked to a few people about it, but just curious too to see how many people here would be interested in that. If so, it would be an outdoor thing, to help with whatever social distancing and stuff. If that was something on your heart, it would be an outdoor concert, and it would be sometime this summer, so coming up pretty soon actually, I guess. But yeah, just putting that out there. If you'd be interested, comment below. Now, actually, I'm not going to get a chance to share what I want to share with you guys, because this video is already 6 minutes long. I guess maybe the most important thing right now is to be able to reach out and to those who needed to be reached out to. But I hate to not say something about the Bible, so maybe if I do this real fast and I won't share everything, make it a part 2 thing. Mark chapter 1, Habesora al pi Malcolm, Mark Echad, and the verse is starting in Esrim Echad. Mark capítulo 1, verso 21. Then they went into Capernaum, and immediately on the Sabbath, on Shabbat, he entered the synagogue and taught. And they were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. Now there was a man in their synagogue with an unclean spirit. So this is what I want to point out. 2 things already. Yeshua was going on the Sabbath. He knew what day was the Sabbath, Shabbat. There was no question of what day that was for him. And we know since the beginning that there was each day, and then there was the 7th day, which he said was the Sabbath. Some people say that Sunday was the 7th day. I did a video about this once before, but as someone pointed out, depending on how you looked at the calendar, what day is the actual 7th day? And we have man-made calendars, and today our days are, whatever they are since the beginning. Some people didn't count the days, but this much I know, at least since the time of the Messiah walking the earth, we know that he knew what day was the Sabbath. And it was the 7th day of the week, Shabbat. And since that time to now, as far as I know, there has always been someone who has kept a calendar of some kind to identify what day that was. And so we do know, if there's any question, that Yeshua himself would go into the synagogue and teach on the Sabbath. I believe that Yeshua is the Messiah, that he died and rose from the dead as our Redeemer, and I continue to go to, just as Yeshua did, to a Shabbat service on the Sabbath, on the day that seems to me, according to this, is the Sabbath. But we only see partially at this time. We don't see all of what our King sees. We only see partially. So I'm just doing the best I can to my understanding of what the Sabbath is. And I know that God sees my heart above all. That's the most important thing. And so I feel that for other people too. I don't condemn anybody for what day they choose to serve the Lord. It's in God's hands. That's between you and God. But Yeshua knew, and he went to teach in the synagogue. And this is the other thing I want to bring up, is the fact that it says there was a man in the synagogue with an unclean spirit. So the synagogue being the house of the Lord, and even in the house of the Lord, someone with an unclean spirit. Beloved, this happens all the time now. I've had this experience where I have been hurt by even someone who is considered the leader of a congregation with an unclean spirit. And I can tell you that if it was not for my strong relationship, or maybe strong is not the right word, close relationship, understanding of who God is, if it wasn't for that, I could have easily have had the experiences I had and have said, you know what, if this is what God is like, I don't want to have anything to do with him, you know? It was that bad. And so I bring this up because just this little detail here. This is a man in the house of God with an unclean spirit. This happens all the time. So we should pray for discernment and seek out that, because for our young people especially, or people new to the faith, how easily their soul can be snatched away by an unclean spirit, even by someone who is called the leader of a congregation. I thank God, I thank him that I was close to him, the experiences that I had, because I could have easily have said, that's it, I don't want to have anything to do with God. If this is what God's people are like, you know? And there are a lot of people who go through that, which is just terrible, because that is not who God is. God is not like that. He's not, you know, it lists in the Bible what the fruit of the Spirit is, and what I experienced was certainly not from the fruit of the Spirit, and so many others experience. And I share this also for leaders who listen, and I thank you there. I know there are some who listen to me. We have to be praying all the time that whatever is not right within us, that God would change us. I know I pray this for myself. I'm not perfect. And we're all guilty of, at one time or another, being, ungodly, whether it be with our words or in our heart, right? So it's so important. And that gift of discernment is so important for leaders of a congregation as well, to protect the flock. I'm amazed at how in Israel the security is so good, because the security is, Israel Defense Force, right, is trained so well to look at somebody's body language, to see how they move and see how they talk, and they're able to identify whether or not someone is a threat to the nation of Israel, to the Israeli people from that, which is amazing, because like in the United States there's all these scans, and you're just like randomly selected, it almost seems like. But in Israel there's this training process of being able to identify someone who's a threat. They don't need any of that special scanning, screening stuff. It's all it's a gift, really. It's a trained thing, it's a gift. And in that way, God's people certainly can be trained. And it's important. It's important to be able to discern what is wrong and what is right in the body of believers. I didn't even read everything, all right? But the next part says, as we know the story, it says, and he cried out, saying, let us alone. This was the man with the unclean spirit. What have we to do with you, Yeshua of Nazareth? So the unclean spirit, this man with the unclean spirit, even knows who Yeshua is, even speaks. There are people in the body that even speaks. They know who Yeshua is, but still their life is unclean. And they're, as we say, wolves in sheep clothing. Did you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. So Satan knows who God is. He knows who he is. And of course we know the story, for many you know the story, but Yeshua rebuked him, saying, be quiet and come out of him. And when the unclean spirit had convulsed and cried out with a loud voice, he came out of him. So Yeshua had mercy, though. He did have mercy on this man. And this man became clean that day, which is absolutely amazing. And so my experience when I had a leader really hurt me, and I know to this day that I was innocent, and there are witnesses for that. I know that I have to, and I do, I pray for him. I pray for blessings in his life. I've prayed for God to help me to forgive, and I do believe I have forgiven. But even when we forgive, there's still hurt, hurt can stay there. But God can definitely heal us, and I feel like the healing actually comes when we keep praying for blessings and love to the one who's hurt us. just keep that program going. And it's like Satan can't stand it. He can't. And so he has to flee because there's that love that only belongs to our King, and it's just amazing. This video is so long already. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna stop here right now. I love you guys. I didn't read everything I wanted to read, but that was the most important stuff I wanted to share, I think, at this time. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Shalom, shalom.